All right, boys and girls, we are going to read our next chapter in Sideways Stories from Wayside School. We're on chapter 18, and chapter 18 is called Leslie. Leslie had 5 fingers on each hand and 5 toes on each foot. For each hand, she had an arm, and for each foot, she had a leg. She was very lucky. And she had 2 lovely long brown pigtails that reached all the way down to her waist. When Mrs. Jules asked a question, Leslie could raise one of her hands. When Leslie was adding, she could count on her fingers. When Paul pulled one of her pigtails, she could kick him with one foot while standing on the other. But Leslie had one problem. She didn't know what to do with her toes. She had 10 adorable little toes and nothing to do with them. As far as she could tell, they served no useful purpose. "Suck your toes, that's what I do," said Sherry. But Leslie's foot wouldn't reach her mouth. "Well, that's all toes are good for," said Sherry. She put her foot in her mouth and went to sleep. No, thought Leslie, they must be good for something. They just have to be. During recess, she asked Dana, "Dana, what do you do with your toes?" "I scratch the back of my legs," said Dana. "First I scratch my left leg with my right foot, then I scratch my right leg with my left foot." "But my legs don't itch," said Leslie. "That's good," said Dana. "In that case, you can scratch my legs. With your help, I can scratch both legs at the same time." "No, never mind," she said. She walked up behind Luis, the yard teacher, and hopped on his shoulders. "Luis," she said, "I don't know what to do with my toes." Luis tugged her foot. "Yes, that's a serious problem," he said, "but I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take them off of your hands for you, or rather your feet. Just cut them off and give them to me." "What?" asked Leslie. "You don't want them, so I'll take them," said Luis. "You won't have to worry about them ever again." "No," said Leslie, "I'll give them to Miss Mush," said Luis. "She can make them into little hot dogs." Miss Mush was the lunch teacher. "No, I'm not going to give you my toes," said Leslie. "All right," said Luis, "I'll give you a nickel apiece for each of them." "No, you can't have them," said Leslie. "Why not?" Luis asked. "They're no good to you anyhow. And think of all you can buy for 50 cents. The bell rang. "I'll think it over," said Leslie. She ran back to class. Mrs. Jules said Leslie, "I don't see any reason for keeping my toes." "Oh, Leslie, I'm sure there are good reasons," said Mrs. Jules. "Well, I can't think of any. My legs don't itch, and I can't get my foot in my mouth. Louise offered me a nickel apiece for them, and it seems to me like it's a good deal. But I wanted to check with you first." "I think Luis is pulling your leg," said Mrs. Jules. "No," said Leslie. "He was pulling my toes." "What would he want with your toes?" asked Mrs. Jules. "I don't know," said Leslie. "But if he's willing to give me 5 cents apiece for them, then I'm going to take him up on that offer. That's 50 cents. At lunch, Leslie walked up to Luis. "Okay," she said. "You can have my toes for a nickel apiece. That'll be 50 cents. Not so fast," he said. "Let me look at them first." Leslie took off her shoes. Yes. The big ones are good, and the ones next to that, most I'll give you for the rest of those are about 3 cents each." Leslie was furious. 3 cents each? You told me 5 at recess. "I'll give you 5 cents for the big ones. But just look at that little scrawny little runt toe on the end there. You're lucky to be getting any kind of 3 cents for that. I think you're getting a darn good deal." "I happen to like that toe," said Leslie. "Fine then," said Luis. "Keep it. I'll just take the 2 big ones, and we'll call it square." He reached in his pocket and pulled out a dime. "Nothing doing," said Leslie. "Those toes are sold as a set. It's either all 10 for 50 cents or no deal." "What am I going to do with just 8 toes?" "Then forget it," said Luis. "I'm not going to give you a nickel for those scrawny little end toes." "Fine," said Leslie. "No deal. My toes will still be here if you change your mind." She turned and walked toward the hopscotch area. "Wait a second," Louise called. I'll give you $1 for each one of your pigtails. Leslie turned around and looked at him with fiery eyes. Cut my hair, she exclaimed. Are you crazy? All right, that was the end of that one. I will see you for the next chapter. Bye.